Okay, good morning to you all. I think we are live now. We wanted to wait for a lot of them people to come, but it seems this is the number that we will be working with today. So let's go. I hope how is it going? I hope you are loving it. I just want to know. I just want to know you are having fun with pandas. Okay. So yes, so far we yesterday we ended at what? Boolean indexing, how to slice the data based on certain conditions that you have to satisfy. And we did that right. Today we'll be moving on to the next one. The next one, the next thing that we have to do. And let's see. Yes. This was where, as I said, we did up to this place. So the next one that I'll want us to look at is what is I think group buy. We need to know how that's function to, right? Sometimes you want to do an analysis, do this analysis. Let me give an example of what maybe you could want to do. You might want to. I don't know if I know most of you have been working with what Excel, yes, let me say Excel. And you see, with Excel, we normally do what? You look at pivot tables. And what do pivot tables do for us? You are able to summarize the data using what? Pivot tables. So you are able to say, okay, you want to summarize all the sales in the regions, the region column. So you want to know this one. So in West, how much quantities were sold, or how much revenue was made. You see that? That's kind of thing. So you are able to what? Just pick one category. You see that one category, and then one categorical column, and you are able to summarize the numerical aspect. So you want to know the numbers that were involved in what? West, the numbers that were involved in East, or when you are dealing with the state, you want to know how much revenue was made in Texas, how much revenue was made in New York, how much revenue was made in what? California, and so on, right? So when you have that in mind, there's this function that allows you Python have here that can also help you, this pandas uh, function or method. So let me say sales. I have my data frame. My data frame name is sales. So I just go by this group by. Let me see if this works for me. Oh, sales dot what group by. So let's see if when we do this, what do we get? We have group by. So when if you want to group by something, as I said, we normally group by so you bring the categorical column that you want to group by, then you specify the moment you group by, you specify what you want to group by, then the next thing is so let me just read it. The group by is used using a mapper or a series of columns combination by splitting. Let me see that. Let's see. The example over here. Where is it? Okay, so this is the example over here. So the name of your data frame dot group by, then you specify the categorical column that you want to group, you want to do your summary on, or you want to group by. So this for this particular data, for this particular example data that is here in pandas. Pandas gave what? Animals, and they have what? Their maximum speed. So they want to group by the animal. So falcon. So falcon. So you when you group by, you get these two, and then what you are grouping it by. It's normally right. Then there's this arg functions that we normally apply, right? Because when you have to always specify the function what you want to do, whether you want to add them, you want to take the minimum, you want to take the maximum, you want to all those things, depending on what you want to do, you always have to specify. So let's take for example, let me see what uh, group group by group by. Let me change this to okay. Okay. So for instance, we just need to go. We want to summarize our database on the regions, right? So we say what? We mention our data frame name. That's the syntax. You mention the data frame name, dot, then you bring the group by function. Then what are you grouping it by? You see that? You are grouping them by what? The column, a particular column, say region. You are grouping them by region. You see that? When you run this, it knows you want to group by something, right? It knows you want to group by. You want to group by something. So if imagine we just run this, Python expects us to. This is what you get. You get this, something like this. I've forgotten. But the next thing, what to get the output that you want, that's where you have to specify what you have to specify the calculation what you want to do. So for instance, this one we can say what we want to count. For now we have just given it one column, right? A categorical column, so we can't say we are finding even the mean and all those sort of, so we can just count, right? And I think for us to count in Python, in Pandas here, the group by, we use size does the counting for us. Have you seen that? So when we did the value counts yesterday or so, you saw that east was what 150, west was, you see the same thing. So it is basically counting what we have here and what we have here, right? That is it. This is when you are just dealing with the categorical data, you can just go straight for it like this and this one. But for instance, here we want to add quantity. We want to take east, the region, and see how much quantities were sold in that region. This one was just the appearances, right? But when we want to say, oh, how much quantities were sold in west and how much quantities were sold in this one, it means we are still grouping by, we are still going to be grouping it by what? That same thing, right? That same what? Region. But now the next step is what? How do you then add what the numerical column that you want to work with, right? So you bring a square brackets. That is a syntax. Yeah, keep looking at the syntax. So imagine we want to do with we want to work with the quantity, quantity. So when we do this, it is now left with us to also specify. Now with the quantities, it means we want to add. When we take for add the quantities, sum them up and get what? The amounts that were sold in east, the amounts that were sold in that one. It means we'll be using the function, the sum arg, this argument, this function. So this is what you get, right? You get something like this. So you get what? So you get to see that, oh, okay, East. Naturally, East was popular. East appeared more than West. And looking at the money too, the quantities too, East sold over 9,000. Yeah, we got over 9,000 quantities from what? The East. But West also gave us like over 5,000 or so quantities, right? So group by, we are grouping by the region, then we are getting the quantities. In a situation whereby we want to do more, right? You want to do more, maybe you want to you want to pick the you want to group this same thing, but the numerical columns, maybe there are more numerical columns that you want to work with, right? Maybe you want to know the quantities at the same time. You want to know what the price, the revenue generated. The same way, this way, group by, you group by, then you specify what you are grouping it by. You see that you can equally say by is equal to. You see that the previous one I didn't even specify by is equal to. By is the same. We can equally go with it. So maybe this time we are doing it by category. That's it. We want to group them by category. But this time it is a list inside a list. The moment it is not one, then you have to use a list inside a list. So the square brackets have to be two. Then you specify your first one, comma, then your second one, which is what? Revenue. So when we have this, then we now need to specify the function that we want to use, the aggregate function that we want to use. And the aggregate function, as I said, it could be what? Size. Size is more of like it just counts. Mean, to find the mean. Sum, to find to add them up. Minimum, to get the minimum in each. Maximum, and so on. So we want sum, we want to add them up. So this is what we get. We get something like this. So you see, for bars, this is the quantities that we sold over 5,800, and this is the money that we generated. This one, 7,028, 281. Oh, this is 2 million. You see that? So that is one way of we grouping data over here, right? We find a way of we grouping the data. Then we had what, over two numerical columns. So just look at the syntax: the name of the data frame first, then the function, which is group by, and inside you have to specify what you are grouping them by, right? You have to specify that with this one, I'm doing what? I'm grouping it by this. I'm grouping it by this, right? Then the next step is what? To specify the numerical columns that you want to do the mathematics on. So, right. So for our first one, we're doing on quantities and at the same time on revenue. So if we change this to mean, it means we want mean. We don't want mean. It means we don't want what? The sum. We are not adding them now. We are taking the averages. Have you seen that? So the same thing, if we want something else, then you keep adding it. Are we together? Okay. So for this one, for the sales, you see that normally after this one, you see that the structure is a bit disturbed. The quantity, the categories on this level, the quantity has gone, the quantity and the revenue have gone up. So normally after this, I normally bring another, there's another method that I normally call to attach it to this data frame. I just say what? Dot reset index. Then it does that reset. Oh, reset index. Reset, reset underscore what? Index. Oh, you're not coming. You want me to type you? Reset index. So if I reset index, you see that it will be, you see that the quantity, category, quantity, and revenue, they are all on the same line. Just that. Are we together? So yes, that is one way of we doing this, right? So yeah, so I can leave this one at once. Can change this one back to some. Okay. So this is one way of we doing goodbye. As this first ones, everything that we are doing is just an to get an understanding of it. So we've done, this one was what? Me, and this is Sam. So we can equally do for what? We can equally do for the others, which is what? Let's just change. I can change this to what? To pick what? The minimum. And I get it. The minimum quantity in each category was 20. The minimum revenue generated is also there. So I can go for the maximum to and see max. Then I see the maximum quantity for bars was what, 306. That for cookies 388, and the revenue too. That is it. Okay. So yes, that is one way we doing it, right? That is one way of we doing it. It's very nice. Are we together? I hope we are together, right? Okay, okay, okay. So yes, wait, one thing, another one thing step that we can do after we doing this, we can even call dot describe, and you know what describe normally does? It brings us a lot of things. Let me see, dot describe. You see, dot describe, you normally get a lot of things. What do you get? You get what? The count, you get the mean, you get the standard deviation, you get the minimum, you get what? You get you get the 25th percentile, 50th percentile, and so on. See, that is it. So you did the groupings, you grouped them by the category. So because here the numerical ones are two, you see that this first set are all for the quantities, then this next set is for the revenue. So if I want it to be simple, I can just take one off. I can take one off like this. I can take one off like this, and I'll be okay this way, so that it doesn't look yeah, right. Okay. So yes, 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 yes. This is it. So we could do a lot. We could do more stuff. So, but basically, this is just an introductory one on what group by, how to summarize. Yeah, we use it to create summaries, right? So depending on the category that you want to summarize your data on, you just specify it. And as I said, the syntax is very straightforward. The name of your data frame dot, then the function, then inside the bracket you have to specify what the column that you are the categorical column that you want to summarize your data on. After giving us the categorical column that you want to summarize your data on, then the next step is what you then go on. The next step, given the numerical column that you want to analyze your data on. Then after the numerical ones, you need to what? The last step is what? Um, the function, the arg function that you are using, you want to use, right? That's great. I hope you are all following and you are liking it. Up. Right. The next thing that we want to do is let me see. Daniel has a question. Daniel has a question. Okay, so questions, more questions. Jennifer to have a question also. Yeah, so type your question. So Daniel is saying, please, can you group multiple categories at the same time? Multiple categories. Like, let me see your example. What you are trying to say. Can I group multiple categories? Multiple categories. I've not multiple categories. So for instance, you want to group by what? You want to group by category, and at the same time you group by how? I don't think. No, 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 no. So now, why would you want to do that? I've not tried that before. Not tried that before. Goodbye. Okay, so the buy. Let's go to where the buy. Let's see the buy. Okay, so let's see. You can group by a mapping, a function, a label, or a list of labels. Okay, if there's a list of labels, then it means we can have what? Multiples. I think so. So let me just try that. Yes, because this is the buy. These are the parameters, and they are saying what? A label or a list of labels. A label or a list of labels. So let's just try it right now. So over here. So let me take this one. Let me take Daniel one. Let me try that. Let me try it and let's see. Then a list. So square brackets. Then I say what? We want what? Region, then comma, then the next one is what? Maybe state. Maybe state. Okay. So we are grouping by these two guys. Let me just make it simple for now. Let me just take one off and let's confirm first. Okay. Okay, so that is done. That is done. Daniel, I didn't try it before. You see, so you see, that's why I've been campaigning. I've been telling you to all we can the question mark on when the help is more of like you are seeking help about it. So it is more of like you see that you get that's more of like the documentation of the data pandas. So you see a little bit about that function, what you can do with the function and what you cannot do with the function. So you see, um, I just saw that labels, and that was a label, a single label that I passed in. And I saw another option that said what? You can pass in a list of labels. So we just passed in a list of labels and the work has been done. So it means that's possible. Thank you for this question. Right, Daniel. Thank you for the question. And I hope this was what you were asking about. I hope that was your question. Okay, so let me look at Juanita. Juanita is saying what? So what might be the problem if you read the question here? Let me see. What is it? So what might be the problem if you call a variable in the same notebook after a day of using it and it gives you an error? Okay, so it means your data, it may be if it is giving you an error, what is the error saying? Is the error saying name error? It means that the kernel has been restarted, right? If the kernel has been restarted, then it means I the kernel no longer knows any variable, so you have to rerun the cells again. Yes, you have that. You have to rerun the lines again. If you didn't shut down your laptop and you are using it, then no problem, right? But if you have shut down, then you need to rerun the codes. Are you seeing that? I think, yeah, Daniel has even answered F. So that is it. I mean, me for instance, I didn't shut it down, so my notebook was still there. When I just come and I'm continuing from where I left, right? If your laptop was off, then you will start it, then you would have to run them again, right? You have to rerun them. Right. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. That is for group by. I hope we are okay with group by and we can go. So you can summarize data. The group by is a very, very important function here because most of your analysis when we start working on maybe projects, sample projects, you'll be using that one most often. You'll be using it most often because you want to know which ones are which product is giving us so much revenue. Then it means you have to group by that particular column. Then you use the numerical ones that you want to. So that is basically more, it does more work. So you have to make sure you are getting you get it right. Make sure you get it how to use the group by, right? That's why I took my time and explained the syntax. The name of your variable, then the name of your data frame, then the name of the variable you are grouping by, then your numerical column that you are summarizing it by. The last one is what? The function that you want to use, the aggregate function, which could be what? Whether you are adding them, whether you are averaging them, whether you are finding the minimum, a whole lot. Are we together? Okay. So it means we can move to the next. Okay. So we just say, please, my question mark sales dot group by shows value error. Wow. Yeah, tried it on my other PC. But I will look at it. I will try to see why others are getting value error, right? So if you have a question, yeah, I see Michael is raising your hand. Just type your question. I'll maybe when I look at the comment section, I'll see your question, right? Okay. I hope we are all following. That's fine. Okay. So yes, we were. This was the group buy. So that is fine. This was the group buy. Okay, donkey. Let's look at the next things that we want to. The next few things that we have to look at. Are we together? Okay, so the next thing that I would like us to do is looking at some functions like is NA and is null, which all these functions, this fun is NA and is null helps you what? Know whether they are null values or they are missing data. Missing data is when you get there are no entries in some row there are no entries in some rows or is it columns also. So if there are no entries there, it will be recorded as what's a null value. So mostly you want to know whether sometimes I just went through your your assignments that you submitted and you see there are other some questions or there are some other places where some didn't submit. I expect most especially the file side. So there will be if it is a if I download the Excel file, you see that that side will be empty. That will be what? A null entries, missing data. There's no data there, right? So how do we check if there are missing entries in our data set? How do we check if there are missing data in our data set? So that's when we look at what? So checking what? Dealing with checking missing data. So we can do what? Let me just change this. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Michael, you raised your hand. Or you are just giving us a high five. You and Lovia. Okay, maybe it could be a high five. Okay, so yes, we have what? The name. You just need to mention the name of your data frame. Our data frame is what? Sales. And how do we check? We just need to do what? You can do dots. It's NA. It's NA. It's NA. Dot is NA. You see like this. Then the it will give you it's NA. You are saying that, oh, okay, this entry is a missing data. You see that? So it is more of like you get what? True, true, false, false, true, true, false, false entries. Because you are saying what? Oh, what is here is NA. It is either a missing data or there's data there. So if there's data there, then it means it is not NA. Then it means what? It is false. So when you are seeing wherever you are seeing false, 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 it means what? It is not missing data. There's data there. So normally when you do is NA, this is what you get. So how do you get the numbers? How do you get the numbers? You get the numbers by summing them up. You see that? Because they are true, true and false falses. So if they are all falses, then you get zero because what? I told you earlier on that true is one, false is what? Zero. So if you are true, false plus false plus false plus false will give you what? Zero. Because when you are adding them, that's what you get. So yes, this the first one without the true without the sum, this is what you get. So if you want the numbers, you just have to do what is NA, then you go out, you do dot sum. So when you sum them this way, then you get what? Okay, other dates there was no missing data, region there's no missing data, state no missing. So you see through every place, then you get to know that no, there's no missing data everywhere, right? There's no missing data everywhere. Hmm? So that is how it is. Yeah. So yes, there are two. I think the other function is also what? There are about two functions that we normally use. There are about two functions. I think they all work the same. The other one is what? Um, it's null. That is null. The same one. They are just the same brothers. It just depends on what you want to use. So this one to you sum them, and that is what you get. So yes, that is it for um NA, right? For missing data. I hope we are together, right? I hope we are together. Then the next one will be the next one is we checking if there's also one way to check if they are duplicate. So there will be a session, there will be by after next week. Next week we'll also do introduction on this one. There will be when all these things are what just intro. We'll be going deeper using them, right? We'll go over a whole lot of these things again, right? This one was just we are just running through what's the pandas library and most of the important methods that we normally use, right? And you're getting used to them. I hope you are okay, right? Mhm. We'll go over a whole lot of them, right? This is our second week, is that not it? It means we have 5 more weeks. Mhm. So let's go. So yes, as I said, duplicates. Sometimes you want to know if there are duplicate entries too in your data set. Have you seen? So that one too is very important to know if they are duplicated. Is there a row somebody has entered the information and has repeated it? It just goes to increase your number of rows, but no information is being added because the same information has been repeated. So how do you check if they are duplicated entries in your data set, right? The same way of how we are doing this, you just need to what? Give what? The name, the name of your data frame dot what? Duplicated. I think there's what? Duplicated. There's this function duplicated. Just like this. Then what? You get what? Zero 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 zero. You get false, 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 false. All you need to do, if you get a boolean, then you can just sum them to get your number, right? So how many rows were duplicated? Zero. There's no duplicate in our data set, which is very good. So we've seen that, yeah, there was no column that was what? Duplicated. Is that not it? Okay. So if that's it, if we are good with it, so far so good, no question, right? Or is there someone with the missing data? Yeah, as I said, we'll find a way of working with how to find missing data and how to solve the missing data issues. Yes, that one is also there's a special day for just that. Okay, so the next look at some the dates columns. So far, you've seen that we've worked on when you look at this data set, we've done something, some analysis or whatsoever on what? The categorical columns, that is region, state, category and products, and we've also done something on the numbers too. But the other data, it seems we've not touched it, right? So we'll look at how to also use that one to our benefit, right? So pandas have a way. So we are seeing other dates, right? But there'll be sometimes there'll be an analysis you want to work, and it will be good. People always want to work on maybe the months, which months does things move? Do they get what more orders? Which month yeah, you want to do an analysis based on the month, so by monthly analysis. They want to do what? Daily analysis. They want to do what? Weekly analysis. If you want to do those things, then you have a date column. So how are you able to what? Pull whatever that you have from it? I will say that even there are sometimes that you see a date column, but it is written as objects. It is not in date time. You have to make sure you convert it to date, right? You have to make sure you convert it to date. So in a situation, thankfully, let's do sales dot what info again once more to see what we have. Thankfully, it is what? Hours, thankfully, it is what? Date time. If it was not daytime, then we'll have to do pd dot to underscore date time. You see that? To date time. Then you pass the column that is there. You pass the column name. So you have to say sales. This is when it is not there. Other, if it is not, it is not. You see that? If it was not, then you would have done this, then you will be able to change it to what? Date time. But ours is already what? A date time. Ours is already a date time. If it was not date time, we would have done this to make it what? Date time first before we can even work with it. Because if it is objects, if it is not, if you see the data type and it is not object, whatever that we want to do next will not work, right? So now, as I said, we have what? The month, the other date, but we want to pick what? The month from it. We want to pick what? The day from it. We want to pick what? The day of the week, and so on. Tuesday, and so on. Okay. So let's go. Right here. So yes, as I said. So now what we have to do is what? So long as we are sure, we are rest assured that it is date time, then we just need to what? Call the column. So you mention the column name, which is what? Our column is what? Order date, eh? Order, order date. That is the name of our column. Or the next thing that you want to do is what? Dot dt, which is what more of like dot date time, then dot it has what if I do a tab, you see what and what you can do. You can get what the name, you can get week, you can get the component. I think we are not getting, but we can get what the month from it, dot month. So if I run this, you see what it picked, what the month from it. Look at this, 1st January. You see that it has given us one as January. Here was what? August. So we are seeing what 08. We are seeing it as August. That is what you get. You see that it means we can pick what we are being able to pick what the month from it. We have been able to pick the month from it. So imagine we create this. Imagine we get this. Then it means we can create a new column in the sales data and say what month is equal to this output that we are getting, and say, hey, create a new column and this should be the data in that column. How do we do that? Just mention the name of your data frame, bring your square bracket and say, well, this time we are creating a column named month, and that is equal to this output. So if we are saying this is the output, then we now come sales dot head. So we do this, and you see now we have what? Order date, region, state, category, products, quantity, unit price, revenue, and then month. Month is there because we've just created a new column named what? Month. And that one is just the month of the dates, the months of the order date, right? So we are seeing January here, and all is January over here. Is that not it? The next thing, the other one that I said, we could also pick the days. We can just pick the days. So maybe from 1st to 31st or so on, we can pick that one too. So we can say what? Sales the same way. Sales at what? Order order date. Then we go dot, as I said, dt. Then before what? Dot day. So you see this. This also picks the days for you. It just gives you the days. So we can equally create a new column called what? Day. You see that? The next one, I want what? The days of the week. Days of the week. Order, order date. Then I go dot dt dot what? Day of week, eh? Day, is it days of week or day of week? Day, days of week. No, there are no days of week. Then let me take the s off and see. Okay, so oh, it is all fourth. Doesn't mean we are getting a single day. It seems so. But if there are different days of the week would have given it to us. So we would have gotten from 1 to 4. Have you seen that? So yes, this equally does that. So after getting this, you then you can pick, you can do it that way. I think since the day is just a single day, then we don't need to even disturb ourselves adding it. Then we can equally pick the years out of it. So we can equally get the year. So it is just a matter of you knowing what you are doing. I mean, what you want, the analysis that you want to do. I want to do an analysis on the year. Do I have the year column? No, but do I have a date column? If you have the date column, then it means you can get the year out of it. Why year? Why year? Then it means you are getting the year out of what? This data set. You see that? So we can just create a new column, then we say, oh, okay, this is the year. So normally after creating this, sometimes there's also the last function that I want to talk about is this one. Um, the map function. The map, right? The map. So for instance, we have what? We have sales. Let me call the sales again. Sales. We have this 11112222. So let's call the unique. Let's call the unique on that particular column and see something. Dot what? Month dot what? Unique. You know what unique does? It gives you the unique entries in that column. So we are seeing 1 for January, 2 February, 3, and so on up to 12. So if we have this, sometimes someone will find it difficult. Okay, 1 2 3 before the person. What if you change it to categorical data? What if you change it to what? For it to be one as one. So wherever there's 1, it should be what? January. Wherever there's 2, it should be this one, I mean February, and so on. How do we do it? There's another function that allows us to do that, right? We can map. When we see mapping, I think when you did what there was one-to-one mapping, one to got those mappings and so on. But here we just want to map. We'll be able to create a dictionary. For you to use the map, that one, you have to create a dictionary mapping 1 to January, 2 to February, 3 to, you see that when you do those mappings and then you apply the map, you do the dot map, you'll be able to change that. So for me to do that, I always want to create the dictionary first. So I say what? Maybe I have one one goes for what? January. Then I go, comma, 2 goes for Feb. Then I go, three goes for March. Then we go maybe four goes with what? APR, April. Then we go for five goes with what? Let's say May. Then we go, comma, six goes for what? June, right? Then we go for seven seven goes for July, JU. Then we go for eight goes for AUJ, August. Then we go for nine goes with Sept. So let me go down, comma, then I come down. I go for 10 goes with Oct. Then we go for 11 goes with what? North. And we go for the last one, which is what? 12. 12 goes with December, DAC. So when you create your dictionary this way, then you can obviously change it. And that is, as I said, we'll change it using what? The map. So you just need to call the column name first, then you give what? The column name. So we are dealing with what? Month. This is the column. But you want to do something. So you want to do what? Dot map. You want to do some changes. Then inside the bracket, what is the dictionary? How do you want to map them by? Then you say you've created a dictionary. Use this dictionary for me. This is it. So when we run this, you see now we are getting what? January, February, and so on. So when you have this, it is not saved. So you have to say sales. You have to say, as I said, you have to say sales at what? Month is equal to this. So as I said, so we are reassigning this. So when we do this, now it has changed. So sales, then you are seeing that no longer 111, but it is what? January, August, and so on. So yes, This is it too for today. We just did what? We worked on the group buy. When we've done this, right? Are we together? So now that we've done that, you can do your analysis. What you can group by the months and know which month gives you more money, which month brought in more money in this data set. So sales dot what? Just as the one that we did group by. We are grouping by what? This time around we are grouping by what? The month. Then we say what? We want so what if yes. So what if we wanted to group by this time? Maybe we want to group by mm, let's go with okay, let's go with what? State, eh? State. Oh, sorry. State, and then comma. You're saying month. S- Uh, month. Yes, month. Then over here, I just give it what? Revenue. Oh, there are scap. And I want what? Just some. Okay, so we have it this way. So it picks each state and this. So for the state we have California, and then in California this month, and this month. So you see what we are having. Yeah, you see that they are stacked on each other. They are stacked on each other, and I think this leads us to look at the next function or the next method that we want to look at. So you see how this thing has been made. The output is not looking somewhere. You have to be scrolling. So to solve this, I think we have to unstack maybe a column. So we can unstack one column. Unstack, the unstack should help us. Unstack, right? Unstack. And which column do we want to unstack? The month. Let me see. So when we do this, we will be able to solve the issue of them running onto it being so instead of it being stacked on each other. Now we see what California in April, you see it. California in February, California in January, California in June, and so on. See that? Are you seeing that? Yeah. So if you didn't want to unstack with this one, we could have unstacked with what? The state two. So you just need to know which one you want to do with. You see that you can decide which one you want to unstack them by. That is it, right? So yes. That is it. Today's work is much like that. It's not much. You just need to go through whatever that we've done. I'll just prepare your weekend work for you. So I will upload it. I'll create a form. Okay, so I'll create a form and I'll send it into the group too. So you start working with what pandas. You do your work on pandas. Next week we'll also introduce ourselves to what the visualizations, right? So we'll see what this was we working with doing some little acapella with what pandas. Next week we'll do an acapella with what matplotlib and seaborn, right? Then after those a cappella, then the next one will then do this one. My SQL will go to SQL. So after SQL, then now we then blend everything so that when we know that when we are now picking one project, when we want to do some analysis on a restaurant analysis, then we know we'll be doing visualizations, we'll be doing analysis using pandas, we'll be doing visualizations using this, and then so it will be combined, right? That's how it is. For now, today, very short. Any question, if you have a question, let me know about it. Or maybe, as I've seen that majority of you two are asking your, and I like what is happening in the group. Those that are you ask, as I said, that was the main purpose of the group. You ask, someone might be able to help you over there, because mostly I might get busy and stuff, and I will not be able, I might not be able to solve everyone's problem too. So over there, you get people that will be able to help, right? Thank you. Let's see. We'll meet tomorrow. Hey, we'll meet on Monday, not tomorrow. But I'll send your assignment. I'll send your work, right? Yeah.